there. How may I help you today? Okay, you were involved in an accident. And it was with a vehicle, your own. Okay. What type of vehicle was it? Okay. So were you the only one driving? All right. Let's see. Well, we're just gonna basically sit here and talk and kind of negotiate what you would like to move forward with, and see if you'd like to get your own attorney on board, or just represent yourself in court. And you can make up at your own discretion your mind later for this. I cannot really guide you on that. I cannot be there present, but I can provide legal advice and services for you. And I'm, again, very sorry that had to occur for you. It's more common than you know. It happens pretty much every minute of every day in this country. And you've probably saw our ad on the TV, yeah. Pretty cheesy, if I must say myself, but I'm glad you came in. So, did this just happen recently? Just feedback to me as much as you can, and I'll do the best I can with trying to kind of guide the course here, so to speak. Alright. So it was quite recent. Okay, good. Within the week, let's see here. So, if I remember correctly, okay. If I remember correctly, that is the greatest time to consult if it's over a month away. Typically, there's, how do I say this correctly? Not always the case, depending on the circumstances. This is where it gets a little tricky, because we're just having the initial consultation, and you said you would not like to be charged that much, so we're just having the basic talks here without opening any books, without looking into any paperwork, any details, to keep it straightforward and simple for you. But we can go over the fees later on when we know for sure. Perhaps the second time you come around, if you choose to, unless you already kind of get the gist of what I'm about to tell you, then you can always, again, represent yourself. But depending on how drastic and extreme and with who the basic exchange of information was on the scene of the wreck, you would have to, or I should say you may or may not need the attorney, so that's why I said I can only counsel and give advice really on what I recommend, but it's up to you. So you are at a good chance here, though, for success in this suit, because you reported it pretty early on, and you did call for help, and they never came because they said it was civil, correct? Okay, so you had already exchanged information, and it was your first time, so you had no idea that would occur. Especially under the state governing laws, that typically occurs. They figure it's just best dealt between the two, if you know what I mean, and they can't really do much beyond that, because then what's the point of them coming on the scene if you guys have already exchanged information? So same principle applies with me. I can only do so much as the police can as well. So it's very unfortunate that occurred. So you were basically behind them and you hit them in the rear. Okay, so it wasn't a head-on. You just impacted. Okay, but it was their mistake. Okay, because they did the wrong turn, as you said. So yeah, they broke too good. Yeah. So you would want to write that down on paper. Definitely have some notes with you when you go in, and face the judge, and they will rule what should be done after a few more questions of their own. That is beyond my control. I don't know what they will ask you. It is different for every case, for every situation. And the person and perhaps their representative would be there with them in the room as well. The big thing here, though, is the insurance. You both have car insurance, correct? So, well, first of all, good, because if not, then you would be in a deeper hole and a worrisome problem. But basically, they are more concerned with how much they will owe. So they will, I know this sounds awful because you pay monthly for them, but they will attempt to try to cover themselves more than care for what your situation is. So the less they have to pay out of pocket from their company, the better. And that's always the case because they have, especially large corporations, they have several hundred cases every week. So, it's in and out. They have to constantly deal with new payments, and so they have to keep afloat, correct? And kind of budget plan how much they're receiving from others and how many situations they have occurred. And they never want to deal with a huge case, especially with someone who, let's just say, has the opportunity, has the funds to form this into a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. So they never want to pay out of pocket for that. So the less of a deal, the better it is for them, okay? And they kind of try to make the situation always a less of a deal than it actually is, even if you were totaled, which you said you were. And you have to cover the expenses of rent-a-car stuff, which you said your insurance did not cover beyond a month. So how are you going to possibly get to and from work, to and from the grocery store? So because you did have to, unfortunately, pay out of pocket to do those things, which I've just mentioned, that would be the extra additional cost of how much you are suing for. So you add every single receipt and total it up and bring it on the due date, which is your court date, just scheduled for, I believe, September 12th, right? So you have a whole month and a half to prepare and speak with an attorney, which I always insist. It is an additional fee, and unfortunately, let's say it just hasn't been long enough where you've had to use additional services, and a rental car was not always around because it's only been a week, right? Yeah, you've had to have family borrow your car. I understand it was very important, and it's a very unfortunate situation. So you've had to use another car and Uber and Lyft and whatever taxi you can. But because of that, you didn't really accumulate that much in accrued fees. So if you were to hire an attorney, basically all the money that would go toward the attorney would, go toward the attorney. That's my point. Even if you win, for totaling the amount in which you were owed, you still wouldn't really gain much, if that makes sense. Sorry, someone's speaking in the other room. We are in an office, so keep that in mind. Yes. But basically, it just wouldn't be worth it. So that's why I say you technically can go through without hiring your own attorney, but the risk is greater, especially if you don't know what you're talking about. So that's why I say pick up a book, do your research and understand the pros and cons and how it works. If you must hire one online, they're usually more affordable, more, virtual. They charge less over the phone rather than, for example, meeting me in person, which you had to do regardless to even begin your case. Otherwise, I'm responsible for beginning it, so if you didn't see me, you couldn't start to begin with. So I hope I was able to answer most of your questions. Do you have any other comments remarks for me. Okay, you're concerned about countersuit. Okay, so if they countersue, alright, you don't anticipate them to, but if they do, then at that point, you shouldn't worry because it will go through the insurance. You are never going to pay out of pocket for this as long as you are covered. Remember, it is none of your concern. That's why I say it's pertinent for you to know what you're saying in court on the 12th. Because if you don't, then there is a chance they do countersue. And unfortunately, your insurance wouldn't like that very much. So they may or may not find additional fees to charge you with because of the trouble that you would put them through. So again, you don't know what will occur. You don't even know right now because you have a whole month and a half until then what they even plan to do if they are planning to as well. And you don't have to worry about a countersuit to begin with because now you're both suing each other. So it's an advanced process, and again, you're going to have to come back in here and negotiate different deals and talk with me. But today will only be 100 because it's just the initial talk. But basically, that's all you need to worry yourself with, and we're pretty much done here. Easy, right? Yeah. You don't have any other questions? Okay, great. You can get yourself a drink if you'd like on your way out. No, there's some cookies there as well. Alright, well, I wish you the best. I really do, and I'm sorry you had to go through this again, but at least you're healthy. You did not sustain any injury, and it was just one person. By the way, quickly before you leave, were there any witnesses by chance? No? Okay. Good. That can be an issue because all of a sudden, you have to deal with a whole other entity, and that's a whole other subject as well. So it kind of branches into things. The whole legal system is that way in general. It would have been even more complex if you were to have to deal with an ambulance or, a fire truck, because then all of a sudden it goes into the health department, and then that's a whole other subject, and then now they have to protect themselves and make sure you don't sue them, and, for false treatment, for example, one of many other things. So this is a pretty simple case, and I'm not concerned for you at all, even if you go in alone without legal assistance, okay? So you'll be just fine, but again, consult with me to make sure you know what you're talking about on the day of, okay? And of course, when you go in, have respect for the judge, yes, ma'am, thank you, sir, etc. And do not argue or look at or even talk to the person there. That can have further repercussions, because they can say, oh, you threatened them, If you see them in the bathroom, in the hallway, and you say one word, they can use that against you. So just no expression, just go about your business. I know it can be uncomfortable, but yeah, you do not want to start arguing with them in the hallway. It's happened before, they're in the waiting room on the benches outside before they go in, and they see each other and they throw a few words. Yeah, it can have definite consequences, so do not do that. Be the grown, mature one, and at the end of the day, it is not your mistake, so their insurance will have to pay for this, not them, not you, not your insurance, most likely, based on what you've told me. So I hope that rest assures that everything is